back at Albuquerque with a maximum zoom in, which means you basically see nothing. I have no overlay maps either. Let's start off by adding the runways maps for Albuquerque. Here we have the free runways. This is runway 8. It's called runway 8 because it has a magnetic heading of 80 degrees. This is runway 12 because it has a heading of 120 degrees. And this is runway 3 because it has a magnetic heading of 30 degrees. Okay, let's zoom out a bit, or pretty much. This is Albuquerque International with the runways there. Okay, let's log into this sector here.
Albuquerque Airport is the airport, running eastward. Altimeter is 2993, fully staffed. Runways 812, 3 in use. Descending to wind and 8 Sierra Zulu to 10,800, landing at Mid Valley. Okay, your scope.
Okay, so one airplane immediately popped up here. The black, everything is black. Okay, but this highlighted black area is the area which we are currently in control of. This airplane, however, is gonna go like this line, dotted line here down here, and then he's continuing to this airport. This sector here is not under our control, so we need to hand this plane over to the controller that owns this sector. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Pushing the handoff button and then telling it's sector 1 south. Should receive this aircraft. If we look on the sign-on list, it says that sector 1 north, it's this highlighted black, is controlled by, and then it's my initials. While the sector 1 south, which is this sector, which I'm trying to flash right now here, is controlled by an AI. Okay, so I asked for a handoff to sector 1S. In a while, it's gonna start, this data tag is gonna start flashing, telling me the handoff was accepted. The equivalent thing is happening up here. An airplane is flashing headed towards our airspace. It means that the controller of this sector wants to hand this aircraft over to us. Let's accept that by clicking it. Now, this aircraft is still on the other controller's radio frequency. Now that I've accepted the handoff, the air traffic controller of this sector is gonna tell him to log into my radio frequency, which is stated right here, 127.4. After that, the pilot of this aircraft will report his on frequency and will start dealing with him.
Albuquerque approach. Good morning, Twin Bonanza, November 840, Charlie Victor is with you, level at 13,000.
Okay, that was him calling in. Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, or we could call him November 840 Charlie Victor, which is the registration, basically the license plate of an aircraft. But you usually refer to them as the type of aircraft and the three last numbers and alphanumeric characters. What did I say now? And alphanumeric. Numeric, yeah, whatever. You understand what I mean. So basically, instead of saying the whole long license plate number, we say the aircraft type and short it to the three last characters here. Okay. Then a data tag pops up for this aircraft, and this data tag states the same license plate number, the type of aircraft that is flying with the instrument flight rules, that he is squawking 6477. Let's talk about squawk some other time. This says he's entering our sector through a waypoint called Curly. 1550 is a time when he's expected to arrive. KAEG is short for Double Eagle Airport. We just looked at Albuquerque International just a way back. This is Double Eagle Airport, which is where this plane is going. We can see up on the screen here. No, we can't. But I can tell you that runway 4 is active, and that's the runway going from down here up to northeast. So we want to vector this aircraft some way down here, turn him, and have him approach the Double Eagle Airport from south. Okay. Now you might have already started to thinking, are there no mountains? Can you just descend them the way, these aircrafts, the way you want to? No, you can't. There are, of course, obstacles. There's an overlay for that called minimum vectoring altitude, or MVA. Let's put on that overlay, and we got a lot of numbers here. These numbers are the altitudes from which above them I'm allowed to vector aircraft, and it will be safe. They won't hit any mountains. So 84 means 8,400. 108 means 10,800. The current altitude of the aircraft is stated to the left on the bottom part of the data tag, so it says 130. That's basically 13,000 feet. So at the moment he could be descended safely to 11,000 feet. But he's not within my airspace yet. If we were to start descending him now, maybe that would create a conflict with another aircraft in this air traffic controller's sector. I don't want to mess up his day, so let's wait with controlling this aircraft until it actually reaches our airspace. Okay, let's unpause. The Twin Bonanza, I want to take him down to the runway 4 of Double Eagle, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell him to expect that, so he can bring up his charts and start preparing for his landing. Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, expect runway 4.
Albuquerque departure Falcon November 8587 Kilo is with you out of 6,300 for 900,000.
Expect runway 4 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
Okay, so I told them to expect runway 4, and if I were a real-world controller, I would write that on his strip. Now the computer is being nice to me and writing it for me, but it says 04 here, because I've told him that he can expect runway 4. Also, there was a Falcon 87 Kilo calling. That's an aircraft departing from Albuquerque International. We see him under the departure of our data tags. No, strips, data strips. Flight strips. Okay. This Falcon 87 Kilo has requested an altitude of flight level 400, and he wants to leave our area of control via a waypoint called Fiery. Now we can't see that on the map, so let's do something about that. Oh, that was wrong. This one is wrong. Okay. Now we have a bunch of waypoints printed out, and one of them is fiery. This is where this plane wants to be going. But first of all, let's give him a clearance to climb and maintain his altitude. But he wants to go to flight level 400, that's 40,000 feet. We don't own that airspace. Let's see if we can bring up the airspace that we do own. Here it says surface up to 200, that's 20,000 feet. So I can't clear him to 40,000 feet, but because there's someone else in control of the area above. It's 2D on the screen, but real world is 3 dimensions, and we only own the airspace from ground surface up to 20,000 feet. So I'm going to clear him to 20,000 feet and then hand him over to someone else. Falcon 87K radar contact. You have to tell aircrafts departing from airports that you can see them. Verify you see them on the radar by saying radar contact. Falcon 87 Kilo, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Up to flight level 200, Falcon 87 Kilo.
Albuquerque, North, Double Eagle Tower, request release Cheyenne 60 Victor runway 4.
Okay, what happened now, you wonder? Double Eagle Airport. No, let's start off here. Albuquerque International, the tower controller is allowed here to release his airplanes whenever he feels like it. It's the purpose of this sector to get aircrafts from Albuquerque International up in the air. The tower controller makes sure these aircraft don't interfere with each other. He won't release another one that will catch up with this one at the very start when it leaves the runway. So I should keep this area clear from aircraft which are not landing. If they're landing, they should be here. Otherwise, they shouldn't be on low altitude, because at any time the tower controller could send something up here, and it could create conflict. However, Double Eagle Airport, since this is kind of in the way of the aircrafts leaving Albuquerque International, they have to ask permission before releasing aircrafts. They are allowed to have aircrafts on low altitudes within this circle. They will basically do some training patterns. They might be starting and then they might be going around the airport just here on a pretty low altitude. That's allowed, but if they want to release an aircraft and going, for example, out to D9 or up to Fiery, first the airplane will talk to the tower controller of Double Eagle Airport, and then the tower controller will ask permission to release it, and once it's been allowed, he will tell the pilot it's okay, cleared for takeoff. So he just asked to release an aircraft from runway 4. That should mean that it will come up following this dotted line. That's 40 degrees. This kind of interferes with this aircraft while before this aircraft has been climbing a bit. So let's not accept this at the moment. The altitude, minimum vectoring altitude here is 7,500. So if I release it, I can release it to a specific altitude, and I could say that I accept a heading of 40 degrees and an altitude of 8,000. I'll do that as soon as I'm sure it won't interfere with this aircraft. This aircraft is currently at an altitude of 8,300. I'm pretty sure that this is a jet airplane, by the way. I'm pretty sure this aircraft will reach 9,000 feet before this aircraft will take off and reach 8,000 feet. So I'm gonna allow this tower controller to release his aircraft in just a bit. First, let's talk about this aircraft. It just turned green. Remember, I initiated a handoff to the south controller. The fact that it's become green now means that the person handling the aircrafts in the south sector has accepted the handoff. I need to tell the pilot to change his frequency to the frequency of this sector. And it's stated up here, 123.9er. So let's unpause and tell him to do that. Twin Bonanza 8 Sierra Zulu, contact Albuquerque approach on 123.9er.
123.9 Twin Bonanza 8 Sierra Zulu.
Okay, great. So now this plane is not under my control at all anymore. He's being handled by the controller of the south sector. Now remember this aircraft, he's entered our sector now, so let's start descending him where he is currently at. It would be safe to go down to 10,800 feet, but I like even numbers a bit better, so I'm going to descend him to 11,000 feet, or as it's said in the game, 1,000. It's said like that in real world as well. Let's also give him a heading. I want to have him down here. 120 will be fine. November 840 Charlie Victor, turn right, heading 120, descend and maintain 1000.
120 down to 1000 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
And we can fold this, we don't have to see it. The Falcon here has gained enough altitude to start heading direct towards Fiery, so let's tell him to do that. Falcon 87 Kilo, proceed direct Fiery.
Direct Fiery, Falcon 87 Kilo.
That means he will use some kind of navigation aid to go there, probably a GPS, but I don't know. Anyway, he's heading toward the waypoint, Fiery. Okay, so then we had the releasing of this aircraft. This aircraft was called Cheyenne 60 Victor, so let's release him. Cheyenne 60 Victor, heading 040, climbing to 8,000, released.
040 and 8000 Cheyenne 60 Victor released, Juliet Yankee.
In a little bit, the Falcon 87K is gonna leave our area and he needs to be handed off to another controller. So let's check some other maps here. We have a map called Subsec. If we flash that, you can see it tells us what the other sectors' names and frequencies are. So this aircraft will be heading up to Fiery. He will be on the outside of this line, meaning he will be belonging to sector 16 when he leaves the highlighted black area. So in a bit we'll hand him off to sector 16. Now this aircraft has left the area where it's only safe if you're above 11,000, and he's now on a sector where it's safe to be at 8,400. I'm gonna take him down to 8,500. Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, descend and maintain 8,500.
Down to 8,500 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
Albuquerque departure Cheyenne, November 5660 Victor is with you out of 6,400 for 8,000.
The aircraft we just released is now in the air, and he wants us to confirm we can see him. Cheyenne 60 Victor, radar contact, climb and maintain 14,000.
Climbing to 14,000 Cheyenne 60 Victor.
Okay, it says on the strip here for Cheyenne 60 Victor that he has requested an altitude of 14,000, so I gave him permission to climb to 14,000, and it says here there's a little bit of an arrow and it says 140. he's been given clearance to climb and maintain 4000. Now this is a small single engine plane. It won't reach this altitude that the Falcon has. That's a jet airplane, so this plane will never catch up with this plane. It's going the same way, but they won't. There won't be any conflicts of them getting too close to each other because this plane is really, really slow. You can see that on this aircraft, the dotted lines are pretty far apart. The trail here, it kind of says that this is a fast aircraft, while you see these aircraft, the trails are very short, means they're going pretty slow. Okay. Meanwhile, let's say we forgot, did we descend this aircraft a bit or didn't we? We can check here. It was first descended to 1000. Then that has been crossed out with red and it now says 8500, and that was what I wanted to do. Okay, and now Lindbergh 3681 is flashing. It means my colleague wants to hand him over to me, and I want to hand over the Falcon 87K to Sector 16. Let's start off doing that. Push the handoff button, then I press C16 and click the airplane. Now it says C16 in the bottom of the data tag. That means that this aircraft should be flashing for the air traffic controller of Sector 16. Now it starts flashing on my screen, means that the air traffic controller of Sector 16 has accepted the handoff. So I can go ahead and tell this guy to change to the frequency of Sector 16, which is 132.8. Let's do that now. Falcon 87K, contact Albuquerque Center on 132.8.
Verify runway for Falcon 87 Kilo. We don't show that is active.
That's not what I said at all. Falcon 87 Kilo, contact Albuquerque Center on 132.8.
Albuquerque Center on 132.8, Falcon 87 Kilo.
That's better. Now let's forget all about this guy and accept the handoff of Lindbergh.
Albuquerque approach. Good morning, Lindbergh. 3681, level at 15,000.
Now I accepted the handoff, and the air traffic controller of Sector 16 told the airplane to change to my frequency. He just reported in. We have his strip here. It says he's going to KABQ, that's Albuquerque, so it's gonna land on Albuquerque International. My intention here is to descend him, take him in this way, and land him. And for that I want another map, and I want the ILS map for runway 8. Let's put up runway 3 as well. Okay, so this guy could be told to go to Jolky, and then I can turn him around, tell him to go towards Albuquerque, VOR. That will be a pretty nice plan. He's currently at 15,000 feet. I've allowed this plane to climb to 14,000 feet, and that's as close as airplanes are allowed to get. 1,000 feet apart in altitude, or they need to be separated laterally. Let's see how much. Here's the J ring. This airplane may not be within this airplane's J ring if they are at the same altitude, or if the altitudes aren't apart by at least 1,000 feet. And I will eventually want to turn this airplane towards Fiery, so the courses will conflict. Or I could do it like I could give this guy an altitude and lower this down to 1 3000 and only accept 1 2000 for this one. Let's do that. Cheyenne 60 Victor, climb and maintain 1-2000.
Climbing to 1-2000, Cheyenne 60 Victor.
Lindbergh 3681, descend and maintain 1. What did I
Say
tell
again
this?
for Lindbergh 3681.
What did I tell this guy now? 1-4. Okay, so 1-2, so 1-3. Lindbergh 3681, descend and maintain 1-3000.
1-3000 Lindbergh 3681.
And now let's descend this a bit more. Cheyenne Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, descend and maintain 7500.
Descending to 7500 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
And let's have this guy go towards Fiery. Cheyenne 60 Victor, proceed direct Fiery.
Direct Fiery, Cheyenne 60 Victor.
And let's have Lindbergh head towards Jolky. Lindbergh 3681, proceed direct Jolky.
Did you want Jolky for Lindbergh 3681?
Lindbergh 3681, affirmative.
Direct Jolky Lindbergh 3681.
Since the Twin Bonanza here have the airport in sight, we can have him make his landing on his own. Let's do that. Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, cleared visual approach runway 4.
Visual approach for runway 4 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
Twin, and now he's okay. Let's pause. I told this airplane that it was cleared to do a visual approach. That means he can descend from his current altitude all the way to no altitude at all, to being on the runway. However, he may not land here without talking to the tower controller of Double Eagle Airport. So let's tell this airplane to change to that frequency. Now that frequency isn't displayed anywhere on the screen, but I have it on paper here on the side. It's 120.15, so let's hand them over there. Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor, contact Double Eagle Tower on 120.15.
120.15 Twin Bonanza 0 Charlie Victor.
It is possible inside this game to save some preferred map overlays and other settings. I nulled everything out to be blank for you to see where the airport is and stuff. But now let's go ahead and use my settings. So these are my preferences. The Cheyenne here is going towards Fiery. It's time to hand him over to Sector 16. Push the handoff button, type C16, push the airplane, and it should start flashing for the under controller. Meanwhile, the Lindbergh is out of this J-ring, so we could descend him a bit more. He might end up all the way out here, and that's about 8,500, so let's have him descend to that. Lindbergh 3681, descend and maintain 8,500.
Descending to 8,500 Lindbergh 3681.
And the handoff I initiated was accepted by Sector 16. Sector 16 has a frequency of 132.8, so let's hand the aircraft over there. Cheyenne 60 Victor, contact Albuquerque Center on 132.8.
132.8, good day, Cheyenne 60 Victor.
For some reason, there's Jolky. Now this is better. So currently there's just a single aircraft under my control. It's the Lindbergh. This aircraft was handed over to the tower controller of Double Eagle, and this aircraft has been handed over to Sector 16. So only one plane under my control. Now in a little bit I'm gonna go ahead and also log into the south sector of Albuquerque. So we get a bit more to do, but I see that the AI controller of this sector is fucking things up here. He's having aircraft where there shouldn't be any aircraft, so I don't want to take over this sector at the moment. Let's wait until these situations are sorted. Oh, by the way, I've forgotten to tell this airplane to expect runway 8, which I should have done way before when he first entered the sector. Lindbergh 3681, expect runway 8.
Expect runway 8 Lindbergh 3681.
Now the flight strip will jump from arrivals to runway 8, and the pilot can bring up his charts and prepare for a runway 8 landing. Okay, so we're getting closer to Jalki. I intend to turn this aircraft around towards the Albuquerque VOR and descend him to 7,500. Lindbergh 3681, proceed direct Albuquerque, descend and maintain 7,500.
Direct Albuquerque 7,500 Lindbergh 3681.
Now I intend to give the Lindbergh 3681 a visual approach clearance, and for him to approach the field visually he needs to see it, and therefore I'm going to ask him to tell me when he can see it so I can give him the clearance and not do it before he can see it. Lindbergh 3681, report Albuquerque Airport in sight.
Looking for the airport Lindbergh 3681.
Okay, so he's looking for the airport. He will tell me when he can see it, and I will give him a approach clearance. And hand him over to Albuquerque tower controller. Meanwhile, the south sector here is starting to look pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and log into that in just a little bit. Not exactly sure what he's doing with this aircraft, but
Looking for the airport MC at this time Lindbergh 3681.
now he was instructed to go to Albuquerque VOR, and he's soon there, so he will now need to be instructed to continue on this heading. Lindbergh 3681, fly heading 080.
Turn heading 080 Lindbergh 3681.
And we can
Looking for the airport MC at this time Lindbergh 3681.
we can have him descend to 7,200 now.
Airport inside Lindbergh 3681.
Now he can see the airport. Lindbergh 3681, cleared visual approach, runway 8.
Cleared for the visual for 8 Lindbergh 3681.
Lindbergh 3681, contact Atlanta Tower. Atlanta, what am I saying?
In the clouds, still looking, we are already cleared for the approach Lindbergh 3681.
Yeah. Lindbergh 3681, contact Albuquerque Tower on 120.3.
120.3 Lindbergh 3681.
Okay, so no longer our problem. He was handed over. If we look at the south sector again, this aircraft and this aircraft have Cs on them. That means they have already been handed off to center, so they don't belong to the south sector. Then we have this aircraft, which does belong to the south sector, and it is supposed to travel out via Fatties, and it is just a little bit too low to cross the sector at 11,300. But he can soon be turned around this way and out through Fatties. And that's the only aircraft under the southern part's control. So let's go ahead and log into that sector. Sign in button, my initials, and 1 south, and enter.
080, climb and maintain 1000.
Altimeter is 2993.
We will hurry turn right heading 080 up to 11,000 Twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet.
Climbing Twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet to 9,800. Okay, your scope.
So now we have 2 aircrafts under our control, actually 3 aircrafts as soon as this one pops
Albuquerque
up.
departure, good morning. United 342 is with you out of 6,400 for 9,000.
Okay, United 342 just took off from Albuquerque International. If you look at its data strip, it says Mnzm2.Molvey. That means he is flying something called the Manzano 2 departure. And there's a map for that we can overlay. Let's do that. Manzano 2. You see this? I'm flashing it. Okay, and it says he's gonna leave through Fatties. That means he should be following this line and then turn left here and fly out to Fatties. This airplane is also going towards Fatties. We need to sort this thing out now so they don't get in conflict with each other. First of all, I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that I can see United on the radar by saying this. United 342, radar contact. United 342, proceed direct U-glue, join the Manzano 2 departure.
Direct Yaglu joining the Manzano to United 342.
I just told him to go to Juggalo, which is here. However, when I say Juggalo, speech recognition won't pick that up. I have to say U-glue. I have no idea why. That's just something I have to live with. Okay, let's put a J-ring. This aircraft, the United 342, may not get inside of this if they're on the same altitude. Which altitude does this guy have now? He is up to...
Albuquerque departure citation November 661 Foxtrot Papa is with you out of 6,400 for 9,000.
And now we have another aircraft starting. Citation 1 Foxtrot Papa, radar contact. And the 1 Foxtrot Papa is going up to Fiery, and he wants a flight level of 40,000. I can only give him 20,000. Citation 1 Foxtrot Papa, proceed direct Fiery, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Direct Fiery, climb and maintain flight level 200, citation 1 Foxtrot Papa.
As soon as this aircraft's J-ring has left the dotted line, I'm going to go ahead and climb United a bit more. But for now, I think it will be safe to get him up to 10,000. This guy should be up to 1,000 before that happens. United 342, climb and maintain 10,000.
Up to 10,000 United 342.
Now we're being asked by Sector 17 to accept the handoff of Opus 21. Let's do that, accept the handoff. Opus 21 is probably gonna come in towards Albuquerque here. Meanwhile, there's an aircraft not showing on the screen here.
Albuquerque approach, good morning, Opus 21 at 13,000.
Opus 21, expect runway 8.
Light bomb here 13,000 for Opus 21, expect runway 8.
Now this aircraft is no longer a problem for the United, so climb the United all the way up to flight level 200. United 342, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Flight level 200 United 342.
Now Opus 21 is flying an approach, which it works just the way it's the Monsanto to departure. There's a Lavan arrival, and he's flying that arrival, and I don't know what I'm saying. He's actually on the Kirky free. I understand nothing now. He's on a Kirky free arrival actually. Okay, and it has different transitions. He could come in through X marks here, turn right, and then go for runway runway free, or he could go straight uphill to Albuquerque for runway 8. I think I haven't done this in Albuquerque actually. I've only used this procedure in Atlanta. Let's try this in Albuquerque and see if I can give him a clearance to follow the Kirky free arrival and runway 8 transition. Let's try. Opus 21, descend via the Kirky free arrival runway 8 transition.
Descend via Kirky 3, Opus 21.
Let's see how that works out. Never tried this one before. I wonder what altitude he will be descending to by himself now. Meanwhile, this aircraft doesn't exist on the screen. Something is bugged here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. November 228 Sierra Zulu. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Squawk 1200, frequency change approved with Bonanza 8 Sierra Zulu.
Now the United 342 is already higher than this small propeller plane, so let's go ahead and send the propeller plane towards Fatties as well. They shouldn't conflict with each other anymore. November 370 Alpha Juliet, proceed direct Fatties.
Direct Fatties twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet.
And now we're gonna plan for 3 handoffs. We're gonna hand off this airplane to Sector 94, United 342 to Sector 94, and the Citation to Sector 16. So let's initiate all those handoffs. Sector 94, handoff Sector 16, handoff Sector 94, and let's descend. Opus 21 is already descending because I gave him the transition there. Let's see if how far he descends on his own. I have no idea actually. Now all these aircrafts are green. We can go ahead and hand them off one by one to their new controllers. Citation 1 Foxtrot Bravo. Citation 1 Foxtrot Papa, contact Albuquerque Center on 132.8.
132.8, good day, Citation 1 Foxtrot Papa.
United 342, contact Albuquerque Center on 133.65.
133.65, good day, United 342.
Twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet, climb and maintain 13,000.
Climb and maintain 13,000 twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet.
Twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet, contact Albuquerque Center on 133.65.
133.65, good day, Twin Otter 0 Alpha Juliet.
And they are all out of my hair. Okay, so Opus 21, he is now flying towards Umra. Let's have him go all the way to Albuquerque. VUR. It seems he leveled off there at 10,000, so let's go ahead and descend him to 8,500 as well. Opus 21, proceed direct Albuquerque, descend and maintain 8,500.
Direct Albuquerque down to 8,500, Opus 21.
I forgot to say, but maybe that is obvious. Before we had the control of only the north sector. and then I logged into the south sector as well. Once you've done that, you don't need to hand aircrafts over between the sectors. You're in control of both of them. So basically, when I had only the north, there was a plane going south, I handed it over to the south controller just as I would hand off aircrafts to sector 16, 17, and 94. But once you own all this airspace, you can just keep them there. You know this aircraft is in the south sector, but is marked with an N for north sector because it's one and the same for the moment. Now this aircraft can get even lower. Opus 21, descend and maintain 7,500, report Albuquerque Airport in sight.
7,500, looking for the airport, Opus 21.
Another aircraft approaching our airspace. Let's accept the handoff. It's going towards Double Eagle Airport. We could have him go down to Jolky.
1595 Charlie is with you level at 14,000.
Commander 905 Charlie, expect runway 4.
Expect runway for Commander 95 Charlie.
Now, since Opus 21 hasn't reported the airport in sight, and I cannot exactly turn him
Looking for the airport. I am see at this time, Opus 21.
on the correct heading, I'm gonna tell him to join the localizer. It's a Opus 21, join the localizer runway 8.
Verify runway for Opus 21. Results show that is active.
Opus 21, join the localizer runway 8.
Localizer for 8, Opus 21.
Basically, it's a radio beam going from the airport and out, and he can follow
Airport
it.
in sight, Opus 21.
Now we can see it, so let's go ahead and make a clearance. Opus 21, cleared visual approach, runway 8.
Cleared for the visual approach for runway 8, Opus 21.
Opus 21, contact Albuquerque Tower on 120.3.
120.3, good day, Opus 21.
Commander 905 Charlie, descend and maintain 8,500.
Descending to 8,500 Commander 95 Charlie.
Or maybe towards Jolky would be fine. Commander 905 Charlie, proceed direct Jolky.
Did you want Jolky for Commander 95 Charlie?
Commander 905 Charlie, affirmative.
Direct Jolky Commander 95 Charlie.
So, Commander is heading towards Jolky waypoint and descending to 8,500. I'm gonna have him turn around for Double Eagle Airport when it's in a good altitude and yeah, when everything looks nice. What was I saying about the localizer? Yeah, well, it's a radio beam. It's the dotted line out here. Runway 3 also has this beam. It makes it possible for an aircraft to follow this line very completely in a straight line and be in a very exact position. Even though they are in the clouds and they cannot see the airport, they can still follow this line. That's why I told this the first airplane that came in, he was already straight on this line. So told him to fly heading 080. Because as he was going straight for Albuquerque, so heading 080 would have him going all towards the runway directly. However, Opus 21 came in this way. It would be hard to know exactly when to turn him to have him. If I turn him 080 here, he would go beside the runway. If I told him here, it would go beside the runway here. Having him join the localizer makes he follow him. He then follows the instruments right towards the runway, so he ends up in the right place. Shadow 22, radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 200.
Albuquerque departure, good morning, Twin Beach, November 328 Yankee Romeo is on the ground at Alexander looking to pick up RIF for clearance to Imperial Mon.
Okay, now something else happened that we need to explain a bit. At Twin Beach said he wanted his IFR clearance to go to Imperial Mon. He said he was on the ground at Alexander. Alexander is this small airport here. Remember earlier that the tower controller of Double Eagle Airport has to ask permission before releasing his or her aircraft into our airspace. Now, this airport is so small, it doesn't even have a tower. There's no one working here. The airplanes will basically make sure they don't smash into each other all by themselves. There's no air traffic control on this airport. But it would still be very bad if they just came up from nowhere here and created conflicts with our aircraft. Therefore, aircrafts that want to leave Alexander Airport have to pick up an clearance themselves. It's not the tower controller calling us, it's the pilot of an aircraft. And normally the IFR clearances are handed off by the tower controllers. So for example, Shadow 22 has already gotten its IFR clearance from the controller of Albuquerque Airport, and the aircrafts leaving from Double Eagle will have gotten their clearances from the tower controller at Double Eagle. However, this guy has no one else to talk to than me, so he asked for a permission to follow his filed flight plan. He needs to know a few different things. The altitude I allow him to climb to, and that the flight plan itself has been granted, and he needs to be told what frequency to be on at the departure, and that's 123.9, the southern part. And he needs to be given a squawk code so that we can see him and know which airplane is. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say to be able to know which aircraft is which, use something called a squawk code. I don't have time to go through what that is right now, but he needs one, and he's supposed to have 6717, so I'm going to tell him to squawk that. Okay, so let's give him the clearance now.
Up to flight level 200, Shadow 22.
Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo cleared from Alexander as filed. Climb and maintain 8000. Departure frequency 123.9er. Squawk 6717.
Twin Beach Yankee Romeo cleared from Alexander to Imperial Mon is filed. Climb to 8,000, 6717 on the transponder. Departure 123.9.
That's correct, and let's accept the handoff from this aircraft down here. Shadow 22 was climbed. What's happening up here?
Albuquerque approach, Aero Commander November 843 Romeo Lima is with you at 13,000.
Air Commander 3 Romeo Lima, Albuquerque approach, roger. This airplane is going towards Alexander, and we can start descending him to 8,500 now.
Airport inside Commander 95 Charlie.
Air Commander 3 Romeo Lima, descend and maintain 8,500.
Descending to 8,500 Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima.
Commander 905 Charlie, descend and maintain 7,500.
Descending to 7,500 Commander 95 Charlie.
Since there's nothing else going on up here, I could give him the clearance to do the visual approach and contact tower, and they can sort things out on their own already now. So let's do that. Commander 905 Charlie, cleared visual approach, runway 4.
Clear for the visual approach for runway for Commander 95 Charlie.
And Commander 905 Charlie, contact Double Eagle Tower on 119er point. No, that's wrong. Commander 905 Charlie, contact Double Eagle Tower on 120.15.
Double Eagle Tower on 120.15. Good day, Commander 95
That's
Charlie.
the correct frequency. Okay, so this guy, no longer our problem. He should turn green any second. Shadow 22 is supposed to be going down to Dummums, which is going towards that way, and he's not doing that, so let's change his course. Shadow 22, fly heading 190.
Heading 190 Shadow 22.
See, this one is now at 10,100. This is at 9,800, so they are not separated yet, and they headed towards each other. But I'm not scared. I'm convinced.
Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima getting a bit of light chop at 9,400.
I'm convinced they will be separated by the time they get too close to each other, so no problem. Just
Albuquerque departure,
safety.
Twin Beach, November 328. Yankee Romeo is with you out of 5,900 for 8,000.
Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo, radar contact.
Airport inside Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima.
Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo, fly heading 350, climb and maintain 13,000.
To 350, 13,000, Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo.
This one is now down to 8,500, and this one is up at 11,000. So they are not in conflict anymore, don't need a J-ring. They are allowed to be on the very same spot because they're separated by altitude. Now, the Twin Beach here is going toward Fatties, but we have some mountains in the way. Current altitude is 6,800, so we can't have him go through the mountains at 11,300. We need to continue him on the northbound course and then turn him towards Fatties once he is high enough to not run into mountains. Air Commander 3 Romeo Lima, descend and maintain 7,200. Report Alexander Airport in sight.
Slowing to 90 down to 7,200 Shadow 22.
Shadow 22. He is below the NVA FATSA bus on this
Not
left.
what I said. He's not below the MBA. That's not true. That's just not true
Departure, good
at
morning,
all.
Cheyenne, November 269 Whiskey Romeo is with you 5,800 for 9,000.
November 843 Romeo Lima, descend and maintain 7,200. Report Alexander Airport in sight.
Down to 7,200 Airport inside Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima.
Okay, remember how I have given airplanes clearances to approach clearances. Now, this airport doesn't have as I said before, doesn't have a tower controller, so I cannot hand him off, and I can't give him a clearance to approach the field. There could be other aircrafts going there. There's no control over there. So I will instead terminate the radar service and have him squawk 1200. The squawk code 1200 is a special frequency for aircraft which are flying with visual flight rules instead of instrument flight rules. And I will have him tell him that it's okay for me that he leaves my frequency. I no longer wish to control this aircraft, and he can go in and make the landing himself now that he sees the airport. Air Commander 3 Romeo Lima, radar service terminated, squawk 1200, frequency change approved.
Squawk 1200, frequency change approved, Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima.
See, he turned in from a north to just a star, means he's a VFR aircraft, visual flight rules. Shadow 22, contact Albuquerque Center on 124.32.
124.32, Shadow 22.
Cheyenne Niner Whiskey Romeo, radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
Climbing to 13,000, Cheyenne Niner Whiskey Romeo.
So both aircraft under our control are now going to Fatties. I believe that the Cheyenne can get there first, even if both of them are pretty slow climbers. I might be able to turn this guy towards Fatties before the mountains, or I might have to take him all the way and turn him when he's high enough from here.
Albuquerque, North, Double Eagle Tower, request released Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet runway 4. Good morning, Aero Commander November 843 Romeo Lima on left base runway 3.
Air Commander 3 Romeo Lima, radar service terminated, squawk 1200, frequency change approved. He wants to talk to me again. I don't want to talk to him.
Squawk 1200, frequency change approved, Aero Commander 3 Romeo Lima.
He will have to handle himself. Not interested. Then Double Eagle Airport, the tower controller just called us and asked for permission to release an aircraft, and I'm fine with that. November 142 Uniform Juliet, heading 040, climbing to 8,000, released. I think that I messed it up by bad speech. Let's do it again. November 142 Uniform Juliet, heading 040, climbing to 8,000, released.
Heading 040, climbing to 8,000, Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet released, Juliet Yankee.
Now the Cheyenne is climbing a lot faster. They are almost on the same altitude, even though the Cheyenne took off way later. But both could start turning towards Fatties now. It should be safe. Cheyenne Niner Whiskey Romeo, proceed direct Fatties.
Albuquerque departure, good morning, Baron November 991, 9 Kilo is on the ground at Mid-Valley looking to pick up RIF for clearance to Del Mar Courts International.
Direct Fatties, Cheyenne Niner Whiskey Romeo.
Twin Bonanza 8 Yankee Romeo, proceed direct Fatties.
Direct Fatties, Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo.
Okay, both aircraft now heading towards Fatties. This is the aircraft we just released. And then we had one calling from Mid-Valley. That's this airport. That's Alexander. That's Mid-Valley.
Albuquerque departure, good morning, Twin Otter November 142 Uniform Juliet is with you, climbing out of 6,200 for 8,000.
Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet, radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
Up to 13,000, Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet.
Let's see.
Albuquerque, North, Double Eagle Tower, request release Aero Commander 3's Ray Bravo, runway 4.
Baron 19er Kilo. Okay, so let's do the same thing we did with Alexander, but with Mid-Valley. Should be good. Baron 19er Kilo, cleared from Mid-Valley as filed. Climb and maintain 8000. Departure frequency 123.9er, squawk 6207.
Albuquerque departure, Baron November 991, 9 kilo is on the ground at Mid-Valley looking to pick up RIF for clearance to Del
I
Mar
just
Courts
gave you the
International. Call
clearance.
sign is cleared to Del Mar Courts International as filed. Climb and maintain 8000, squawk 6207, departure frequency 123.9er.
Perfect. And then Double Eagle wanted to release yet another aircraft. What altitude is this one at? It's not high enough, so I'm not gonna wait a bit before I allow that to happen. Here comes the Mid-Valley departure, I think. Should start rounding this video up also. This airplane is going towards a macho. There's a bit of a mountain or whatever here. It has an altitude of 12,900 and the Twin Otter only wants to be at 13,000, so we will have him head towards denied. To begin with, I don't think we can give him high enough to actually have him exit through macho, but it's the same sector, so doesn't really matter. Just have him as close to macho as possible, and I think denied will be a pretty nice point for him to exit. Twin Otter 2 uniform Juliet, proceed direct denied.
Did you want denied for Twin Otter Uniform Juliet?
Twin Otter 2 uniform Juliet, affirmative.
Direct denied Twin Otter Uniform Juliet.
Now the Cheyenne is getting closer to the exit point, so we
Albuquerque, North, Double Eagle Tower,
hand
request
him off
release
to
Aero
sector
Commander 3's
94.
Ray Bravo, runway 4.
This one is now soon at 8,000. We could release the next one because before he's at 8,000, this one should be at 9,000 and they will be separated. So let's go ahead and do that. November 583 X-Ray Bravo heading 040, climbing to 8,000, released.
040 and 8000 Aero Commander 3's Ray Bravo, released. Juliet Yankee.
The Cheyenne has been accepted. For my handoff has been accepted, so let's hand him over. Cheyenne 9er Whiskey Romeo, contact Albuquerque Center on 133.65.
Albuquerque Center on 133.65, Cheyenne 9er Whiskey Romeo.
And this altitude is high enough to cross the mountains, so I guessed right when he was up here. Otherwise we would have to turn him a bit so he doesn't fly into any mountains.
Albuquerque departure, Baron November 991, 9 kilo is with you 5,400 for 8,000.
Baron 19er Kilo, radar contact. Climb and maintain 14,000.
Climbing to 14,000, Baron 19 kilo.
I have a conflict alert. That's a bit of unfair here. There were two visual aircraft. I just told this guy I see him, and then he's suddenly under my control, and I'm not allowed to get aircrafts that close to each other.
Albuquerque departure, good morning, Aero Commander November 583's Ray Bravo is with you, 6,200 for 8,000.
Air Commander 3 X-Ray Bravo, radar contact. Climb and maintain 13,000. November 583 X-Ray Bravo, radar contact. Climb and maintain 13,000.
Climbing to 13,000, Aero Commander 3's Ray Bravo.
Okay, so let's start doing some handoffs. This guy to sector 16.
That's the wrong controller for Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet.
No, it's the right controller. And this airplane is gonna be handed off to sector 94. And this aircraft is going towards what up? Is he high enough to be turned? No, he's not. He's 6,500. The minimum vectoring altitude is 7,200, so I should not be vectoring this aircraft yet. November 328 Yankee Romeo, contact Albuquerque Center on 133.65.
133.65, good day, Twin Beach 8 Yankee Romeo.
He's still, there you go. There you go. Twin Bonanza 2 Uniform Juliet, contact Albuquerque Center on 132.8.
132.8 Seagull Twin Otter 2 Uniform Juliet.
The next aircraft here also going towards Macho, and just as his predecessor, he won't be able to get high enough in time, so I'm gonna steer him towards denied. But he's also too low to be vectoring around. You have to stay on that altitude. Now this airplane is up at 7,200, high enough for vectoring. Let's have him go towards what up? Baron 19 Kilo, proceed direct what up?
Direct what up, Baron 19 Kilo.
And this one is now high enough to head towards denied. Aero Commander 3 X-Ray Bravo, proceed direct denied.
Did you want denied for Aero Commander 3's Ray Bravo?
Aero Commander 3 X-Ray Bravo, affirmative.
Direct denied Aero Commander 3's Ray Bravo.
Here we have another handoff to accept, and I think that's gonna be it for today. Let's log out from the different sectors here. I think I will close.
Albuquerque approach Queen Air November 740 Hotel Mike is with you level at 14000.
I will drop the north sector first. Sign off. 1 north. And now these aircrafts remained under north sector's control, and the AI doesn't understand. He should hand them over to me. So now there's no airplanes left to control. And therefore I'm gonna log out from this sector as well. 1 south, log out. And we are currently not in control of anything, and let's end the video there.